I went to an early screening of the best Christmas pageant ever, but is it worth your time and a new Christmas classic? Hello and welcome to Cinema, where we focus on a film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you seen the best Christmas pageant ever? Is it good? Is it bad? Or somewhere right in the middle? Let me know all your thoughts. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already to join the film culture community where we talk about a lot of cinema as a whole. And getting right into the synopsis. When a no-good, troublemaking herdmen sneak into the church to steal some snacks, they get involved and take over the Christmas pageant that is very special to the church, which causes some turmoil and things that could go about wrong along the way. And getting right into positive, this film is based on a book of the same name. I haven't read that book, I don't have any former connection to it, but people that are connected to that book may find some pleasure just being able to enjoy, have a good laugh. It has the entertainment and laughter value of what you've seen from the Christmas Story before. It is that style of humor that will be able to create a good amount of laughter. It really worked for my audience, and I had a few laughs here and there myself, just being able to enjoy the general vibes, not being able to take the story too seriously, and based on how it's all set up, it feels like it's properly adapting the book. Even though I have no former connection, it feels like it has a sense of style that, having seen a pre-screening and a director interview just before, it really captured the magic of his love for what he enjoyed from the book, and being able to adapt that to the screen. There may be caveats on what is left out, what is added in, just as book adaptations go, but it still has the sense of style that manages the feel that it knows what it's doing. It manages some clever caveats, knowing what it's doing with its humor, and just making the Herdmans a troublemaking kids that goes about their mission, having some sensitive emotional moments that builds up their grounds where they end up turning their point with their character arcs, as well as the church, how they're not necessarily accepting the Herdmans throughout the movie, and how you manages to follow through this main family that's involved with them, with this new director that's taken place, that she's not really credited right at first for all the responsibility she's doing for putting the Herdmans within the roles of the Christmas pageant. And so how that all plays out with viewing this Christmas pageant as so sacred but unoriginal, because they're playing about the same thing about every year and doing the same cast in every role every year. And so some things are taking a turn for the staleness, and you're wondering and questioning how things may turn out in the end for the way that the story pans out. Though it's not necessarily a film that you have to think deeply about, you don't have to follow this complex plot or follow this nature of storyline that has technical details that are too spectacle and too close to the critic's viewpoint in a way that would be just too much special. It's not colorful or extra special in the sense that you have to be a film-loving critic to love the cinematography for. It's just very grounded, simple, and has a way of building upon its themes that are really naturally down to earth, build upon its religious ideas without being too much in your face if you're not religious yourself, and being able to still focus in on the ideas and themes of the town getting over their own expectations of the Herdmans, of people that you judge for what they do in the past, and how they can get over those little hurdles along the way. Taking it into the mix / negative elements, the reason I'm combining the two segments of mix, whether it works for you, whether it doesn't, is because most of this film does not work for me. It has a lively, joyous, whimsical time with what it's doing, and being able to set up its structure that I understand what its intentions are with the plot, what it's doing with its comedy, but that sense of comedy, including the style that it's taking off of A Christmas Story is not something that fits my fancy for whatever it's trying to pull off with its humor. Those type of jokes, I sort of take it into the more drama side of things, and while comedy still can work for me, the obvious take on what it's doing, being over obnoxious in one sense, and taking the church into this dark place where the church is not accepting these kids because they're all troublemaking and everything, which is not a good example of what Christians are meant to be like. So in one sense, it's also sensitive to me in the portrayal of that's why some people do not feel accepted to going into the church, that whether you're religious or not, it will hit a toll with the sense of, yes, you can enjoy it for what it is, for what it's adapting based on the book. And I feel like it's doing it effectively, even though I haven't even read the book. Obviously, the director that's passionate about the project is going to want to adapt it rather close to the story and not totally twist what's going on with the Herdmans, how they're troublemaking, and how the church is not accepting. And that's where you lead into essentially the Christians being the less likable characters because they're not very accepting. They're not fully being able to engage with these people. And part of the story also, there's certain details that I won't spoil, that you don't get the full details revealed with what's going on with the children, their backstory. There's hints here and there, and you see an immersion of what's going on at their house, but there's still details left unanswered that may be left in the same way as what the book is left as. Maybe the answers don't get involved within the book, but it still gets something to be unanswered and something that I would love out of the story. Whether it is an effect on the book or not, it still is absent from the being able to fulfill its story requirements, being able to understand why it might be missing, being able to get into the mindset of these kids, where they come from, their background, that you sort of get to understand a lot more by where you eventually lead up to with them, but still being able to not fully get the grand picture of what's all going on in their household, certain things of how they're all raised up, but putting that especially on the mindset of the church being the full set of other cast members within the story. There's not other townspeople that are technically involved with the story. And so that leaves all the characters that are involved with their church to be not accepting and not very Christian-like in the Christian values of what is all going on. So whether you like that or however you interpret the book, if you're taking it too seriously, or taking it in a different interpretation to the way I'm interpreting it, then it will completely turn you off, whether you're faith-based or religious or not, or if, like I said, where I'm not a fan of the Christmas Story style humor, then it will not work for you quite effectively and not nearly as well, to where it can throw off the whole balance, where yes, there are moments where I understand what it's trying to do. I view it as a good movie for what it's trying to attempt. But at the same time, while it may be a good adaptation, it's not a story that I particularly lean into. It's not one that will become a Christmas classic for me, even though I've heard others that have really loved it, have really enjoyed it, and like I said, my viewing audience just really had a good time. There was quite a bit of laughter here and there, so it could be a very big hit or miss for each person. I don't think anyone will land right in the middle, but even in my critics mindset, I respect it for what it's doing. It's just not personally for me. So that's just my personal review for the best Christmas pageant ever, which I have to rate as simply 4 out of 10. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below, what you thought of it. Is it good? Is it bad? Or somewhere right in the middle. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already to join in the film culture community where we talk about a lot of cinema as a whole. So that's just all, and make sure to do yourself a favor and go watch a movie.